willpower is what gives us direction in life. But also our karma is also pushing us in a direction. Sometimes things happen to us because of karma. So it helps to distinguish between what is willpower and what is karma. When we can distinguish between the two, we have more sense of who we are and the direction that our life is taking us. Karma, based on the law of causality, or law of cause and effect, is pushing us to have an experience in life. We have such and such life because of our karma. We experience joy or sorrow because of our karma. Karma is making us to experience pain or joy, and there's nothing that we can do about it. So from that perspective, it's karma, because there's nothing it can do. It's something that you have done in the past, now coming to fruition, and there is nothing that you can do about it. And karma is restriction, as opposed to freedom, because you cannot do anything about it. The feelings that you're experiencing, the anger, the experiences that you are going through in dealing with somebody who's upsetting you, that you cannot do anything about it. You can only experience that pain or joy, and that is karma. And so it's restriction, or karma in a sense that you have to do something for somebody. You feel oppressed, you feel like there is no way out. Like at work, somebody is making you do this assignment, and you have to do this, or it's gonna impact your promotion, or it's gonna impact your raise, it's gonna impact your employment. So when we are in a situation like that, we feel the obligation to perform that duty. When we are in that situation, that's karma that is making us to go through that pain or joy. Likewise, we enjoy the promotion. We haven't really done anything about it because we have good connections. People like us, they trust us, they promote us. That is karma too, because our good deeds are coming to fruition. The situation is forcing you to do something that you may or may not like. In other words, you have no control over things that are happening. That's karma. But sometimes in life, we do have some say in what's happening in our life. That is willpower. Willpower is the ability to do something on your own. You have a say in it, and nobody is making you. Have you ever experienced that? Sometimes we have ability to say what we want to do. We have a say in it, and sometimes we don't. For example, in the United States, we enjoy the freedom as long as we don't violate any laws. You have no fear of being arrested. In our country, the freedom here is you can say and do anything you want as long as you don't impact others. Just like you can extend your arm in any direction you want, just as long as you don't hit somebody, the next person in the nose, right? So that's freedom, as opposed to being forced to say certain things or to do certain things. That's karma. And when it's free will or willpower, then you have a say in it. For example, today's lecture, right? You come here, nobody's making you, I hope. that's free will. That's maybe for a couple of people. But that's free will, right? Willpower, you have decided this morning you're going to wake up, join a spiritual community to learn something new. So that's your free will. Your willpower is, nobody's making you, but you make that decision. But sometimes life is pushing us in a direction that we don't want. We don't want to meet certain such people, but yet we have to meet them. We don't like to do certain tasks at home, at work, but yet we still have to do them. And we don't understand why things happen to us. And so when we ask the question, why me, and why things happen to me, then you are looking at it from the perspective of karma. An example of karma is somebody who's growing up, she's nice, she's pretty, but yet she is being forced to marry somebody that she doesn't love. Okay? So that's karma. She has to have this family with another man who she doesn't love, and so that's karma is making her do that. So those are examples of karma. But karma is not necessarily a negative thing. Karma could be, in a good sense, that fortune that comes to you unexpectedly. For example, you make a business deal, and although the odds are against you, but you become successful. So that's karma as well. Your seed of wealth has come to fruition. But sometimes things seem uncontrolled, and sometimes things like we do have some say in it. So in life, we can conclude that it's a combination of both karma and free will. It's not entirely karma, but there's also a factor of free will or willpower in it. Every year we host here at Media Society, we host the World Religions for the 7th graders from the Oak Avenue Intermediate School. It's about 150 students. They come here and we have a bus, 3 buses actually, we take them, they have 3 separate groups. So they would visit a mosque, they would visit a Christian church, and they would sit here at Media Society. So for them to have that understanding of different religious teachings, so that they have, I guess, to help them with also religious tolerance, but also understanding, is part of a history class at the Oak Avenue Intermediate School. One of the most common questions that they ask is, what is the meaning of life? You know, what's the meaning of life? Why am I here? Well, we ask, what's the meaning of life? There's 2 ways really to answer this question. And you can look at this question from the past perspective and also the future. A single point has the connection to the past, but also to the connection to the future. In order to understand life fully, we have to understand both. We have to understand our karma, which is where we have come from, and our future, which is our free will or willpower. Things that happen to us, we cannot change, but we can change what can happen to us in the future. You have say in what's happening to your life. Things that you have no say in it, that's karma. Things that you have a say in it, you can change, that's willpower. So we look back at our lives in the past to understand where we are today. So you can see that karma is looking into the past, backwards, and willpower is looking forward into the future of where you're going to be. In order to understand life completely, we have to have both perspectives, both kinds of understanding, the past and the future. Don't just say, oh, this is karma, this happened to me, and then stop there. That's half of the solution, because you feel very powerless when you are putting your life in the hands of karma only. But you feel very empowered when you put your life in the hands of willpower. So we have to understand both. And understanding karma, understanding the past of why things happen to us, allows us to calm down and release the pressure, because we know there's nothing that we can do about it, that things happen to us. But we do have a say in what's going to happen to us in the future. I'm not going to make the same mistake again. I'm going to do better next time around. I will repeat that mistake and so forth. Now you are talking from the perspective of willpower. Right? So if you ask the question, why me? Right? What's happening to me? What has brought me here? You are asking the question from what perspective?
Karma.
Karma, right. If you're saying, why me? What's happening to me? How am I here? Then you are looking at it from the karma perspective into the past. But you say, I am going to live a meaningful life. I'm going to try my best to bring the best out of me. Then from what perspective are we talking about? Willpower, right? That's your decision. You have a decision to make. You can either continue with the momentum that has brought you here, or you can change its direction for the better. If we don't recognize that and things happen to us, then we just follow the drift. And whatever karma has taken us, that momentum, that vector, will take us in that same direction, and there's nothing that we can do about it. So we feel very hopeless, powerless, when we are only looking at it from the karma perspective. But if we say, I'm going to change it, then there's hope. But if you don't recognize karma and you only want to say, I'm changing it, then you can be also disappointed in the sense that things happen to you and you don't have control over it. And you feel like you're lost. So we have to accept both karma and willpower. It allows us to have that balance in life. Are you following me? If you're only looking at karma only, then you are helpless, powerless. But if you're only looking at willpower, then you may feel empowered, but then you can get lost too, because things happen to you and you don't know why things happen. You cannot accept that things happen to you. When we accept both karma and willpower, we have that balance of view, and that allows us to have some control. So when you add the two, you have control. Either one, karma only or willpower only, you have no control. But when you add the two together, now you have control. But to say we have control is really, it's usually on the surface. Because we have really no control, because karma is so powerful that is taking us from one place to another, from one experience to another, and we have no control of it. Just like a water flow, a raft. We want a raft, and the water flow takes us, we have no control of that. We cannot stop. It will continue to drift from one place to another, and there is nothing that we can do about it. And so we should understand this a little bit. This karmic force is unbelievably strong. If we try to escape it, we cannot, and it pulls us back into the cycle of life and death. Just like this gravity. As long as you have any kind of physical characteristic, you cannot escape the pull from gravity. It's that powerful. So we put in a lot of effort to be liberated from the cycle of life and death, and it's not easy, correct? And we observe the precepts, we try meditation, we repent, we do all kinds of things to help us, to discipline us, and that's very difficult. Let alone the worldly people, for them, living and dying is just normal for them. They have to endure the pain over and over again. They become desensitized to it. And it's normal for them just to go through the pain and all the suffering. But for us as Buddhists, we have self-discipline. We have some sort of direction, so our lives are better from the perspective that we have more control, that we have a direction that we can take ourselves out of this suffering in the cycle of life and death. But it's so difficult because our karma has momentum. Imagine you stand in front of the Hoover Dam and the floodgates open. There is no way that you can stand your ground. That is what karmic force feels like. When we are leaving this world, it pulls us back. There's no way that we can change that. And that is because it has this karmic momentum. And so you can see how difficult it is to escape the cycle of life and death. Why? Because our habits. We like to do certain things. And that habit is what's pulling us back. So karmic momentum that I'm saying here is really our habits. But of course, we still have some say in it. Although karma is taking us from life to life, destination to destination. When we practice meditation, when we cultivate virtues and merits, we do have some say. As opposed to the worldly people where they live emotionally. They live according to their emotions. They are just drifting along with their karma. meaning that they continue to build a karmic momentum. So what they're doing, they're just reinforcing their karma. When they react emotionally, they get angry or they get jealous, they are only reinforcing their own unwholesome karma. Karma has taken us here, and it has that momentum, and so it's not going to come to a stop, right? We cannot just stop it. It doesn't work that way. The only thing we can do is try to slow it down and try to change direction. Those are two pieces of control, if you will, that we have with karma. We cannot stop it, we cannot eliminate it, cannot get rid of it, but we can change its direction. Right? We accept how it is, and we take control of it by changing its direction. If we live according to our emotions, we live according to karma, we are resonating with our afflictions. We are strengthening our karmic momentum, meaning that our own habits. It is like we're in a car and somebody's driving us and we have no control of it. It can take us from one destination to another, and we may not like that the next destination, but we have no say. So when we live with our karma and we resonate with our own afflictions, that's what's happening. Is that it can take us, and we're in the car and it can run over a pothole and we'll just feel the shock, and should there be a rock in it, we're going to hit on and damage the car. If there's incoming traffic, we cannot avoid it, we have a head-on collision. It'll take us to the dry deserts where we are thirsty to death. On the scorching heat of the desert, we suffer from the heat. It takes us to this flood zone, and we have to suffer from the flood in this cold, freezing weather, and we have no say because we are just drifting along our karma. So wherever it takes us, that's where we go. We have no say. Regardless of what you like it or not, it's gonna take you there. So that's how it feels like to live under the influence of karma and to let karma have control of us. Whereas if we live under willpower or free will, we cultivate merits. Now we have some say in it. Although the car's moving, but at least we are in the driver's seat. We can steer. Right, a pothole's coming, we can see it, we can steer to the left to avoid it. Now, incoming traffic coming, we can steer to the right to avoid it. The car's moving, but at least we still have some say in it. We can steer to the left or to the right to avoid danger, to avoid collisions and hurting ourselves. We have no say, but at least we can steer. Maybe, perhaps, we can steer to avoid a pothole in front of us. We steer to the right, and now we end up in somebody's garden. But at least that garden has fresh fruits that we can pick and eat to relieve the thirst. And perhaps in that garden there are shades that can give us some cooling, as opposed to be in a dry desert with a scorching heat. Or maybe as opposed to running into the flood zone, we can turn right and up into the hills where we can see this beautiful scenery. We can enjoy the scenery. And we can drive maybe to the village, and that village has people who are very nice to us. They see us coming, they dance, they welcome us, right? They enjoy our presence, and we enjoy their presence, so we have a good time, but we cannot stay there. We continue to go. That's how it is in the samsara, the cycle of life and death. We cannot dwell too long in any place. We cannot be in the heavens forever. We cannot be humans forever. We continue to drift. Just like after this life, we have no say of where we're going to go next, because karma is taking us. So as long as we're still stuck in the cycle of life and death, we have no say. But what the best we can do is to steer in a good direction if we are smart enough, right? Of course, the best way is to steer it towards the Western Pure Land, so that we don't have to continue to encounter the cycle of life and death. Right? Well, at least it slows down to a point where we can make decisions. Once we're in the Western Pure Land, the environment will accord our desires, meaning that it won't negatively impact our spiritual advancement. When you're at work get to deal with difficult people, and if you don't recognize that, you will continue to build your karmic momentum. You are dissatisfied with your work, for example, you get angry. You're reinforcing your karmic momentum. If we don't recognize that, we are surrendering our control, our happiness in the hands of somebody else, meaning we are drifting along our karma and we have no say. But if we have that awareness, we can take back control and we have some say in it, meaning that we can steer in the right direction to a better place.